Chapter 6. Are you Godzilla or King Kong? George, age 11. By the time he was 11, most of the kids in his class were taller than George. He wore his hair cut short instead of in a big afro like many of the other boys. He made good grades, had lots of friends, and walked with a lanky, confident gait. When he smiled, which was often, it was clear to everyone that the teeth in his mouth had grown a little like George had, cheerfully and with an independent spirit. They were seriously croaked. Your first dentist appointment is this afternoon, his mother reminded him. I'll pick you up at noon. I get out of school early? Cool, George replied. So I'll go back to school after I'm finished with the dentist? No, I suppose not. But make sure you get your makeup work before you leave, his mother warned sternly. No problem, George said, almost dancing because anything to get him out of school in the middle of the day was worth celebrating. George was still an excellent student, consistently making good grades, but free days were rare and to be treasured. When they got to the dental clinic, George looked around with interest. Pictures and charts of teeth decorated the walls, along with pictures of smiling toothbrushes and toothpaste taking a bow. He'd been to the dentist before, for cleanings and such, but somehow this visit seemed different. While he and his mother waited their turn, George stood up and looked closely at pictures of teeth from various angles. Teeth with decay and cavities, and teeth with braces attached. Is this what my teeth will look like after I get braces? He asked his mother. I don't know, son, I suppose, his mother replied. Does it hurt? Again, I don't really know, she told him. I've never had braces. How'll I eat corn on the cob? His mother laughed. Probably you just won't. George heard his name being called then, and he walked back to the examining room. A technician sat him in the dentist's dental chair, which was surprisingly comfortable, placed a paper bib on his chest, and attached it with a little metal chain. First, we do x-rays, the technician explained, so we can see your teeth and gums all the way down to the root system. I gotcha, George replied with a nod. After that's done, the dentist will come in and examine your mouth. Will I get braces today? Not quite yet, the technician replied with a laugh. Don't rush it. Most likely you'll be wearing braces for several years. George thought about that and wondered if braces would interfere with his talking to girls. Nah, he said to himself. I'm so cool, braces won't even matter. After the x-rays, the dentist walked into the room with an air of casual confidence. He wore a white coat and carried a clipboard in his hand. I'm Dr. Thomas, he said, shaking George's hand firmly. Are you ready for this adventure? George, not the least bit frightened or concerned, said, Let's do it. The dentist took his time and showed George the x-rays, pointing out where his teeth were crowded and which teeth might need to be removed. You're going to pull some of my teeth? Probably just these two, the dentist replied. You won't miss them, and the other teeth will thank me because they'll have room to breathe. Will they grow back? George asked. No, these are your permanent teeth, the dentist told him patiently. Does it hurt when the braces get put on? Not much. I have magic fingers that are very gentle. Promise. Will my teeth look good when this is finished? George touched his crooked teeth with his tongue. Your smile will be so fine that girls will fall at your feet. Guaranteed. George laughed. How do you hook the braces on? He wanted to know next. Very carefully, the dentist said with a laugh. Dr. Thomas showed George every single step of the process, named all the instruments, and even let him take home some of the gummy material he used to make impression of the inside of George's mouth. This is a nice job, man, George observed. You make a lot of cash? I do all right, the dentist replied with a smile. Let me ask you something else, George said, frowning with a bit of confusion. He thought for a moment, then asked, Which is better, dentists or doctors? I mean, are doctors ranked higher than you? What I mean is if Godzilla fought King Kong, Godzilla would win. Are you Godzilla or King Kong? I follow you, the dentist said, laughing. Let me explain. A dentist is a doctor. After college, doctors go to medical school. Dentists go to dental school. Same amount of time and effort and study. But me, I'm like Superman. I'd be both Godzilla and King Kong. George laughed at Dr. Thomas, who was flexing his arms like he was ready to beat up a monster. George couldn't figure out why all this seemed so fascinating to him today. But but it was like Dr. Thomas had plugged in a cord that buzzed with electricity and excitement. "When do I come back?" George asked. 2 weeks, Dr. Thomas replied. "We'll do the first fitting of your braces then. It's going to be a long, slow process." "Will you be my dentist every time I come back?" George asked. "Absolutely," Dr. Thomas replied. "For as long as I'm assigned to this area, I'm a resident, which means we'll have a couple years together. You'll have to come back every month at first and later every few months." "Will I get out of school every time I come here?" "I'll make sure of it," Dr. Thomas replied with a laugh. "Sweet," George replied. He couldn't wait until the next time. Who would have thought that an ordinary trip to the dentist could turn into an extraordinary, life-changing event? I walked into that dentist's office unaware of the fact that he held the keys to my future and his interest in me. Something clicked when I looked at those dental charts, x-rays, and instruments. The dentist sensed my fascination and took the time to teach me and encourage me. He was eager to feed my inquisitive mind, and I was a willing sponge, soaking up all the information and inspiration he could give me. Even though I had no idea how the dream of becoming a dentist could ever come true, I knew the moment I walked into that office that I had found what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. It took almost 14 years of hard work and sacrifice from the day it first started to its accomplishment, but nothing is sweeter than making a dream come true. Sometimes, the smallest, most insignificant events in life can develop into something large, important, and life-changing. Look for those moments and grab onto the possibilities.